Mist rises from the Arkansas River as dawn paints the forest in gold. Cypress knees rise from dark water, and the air once shimmered with wings, calls, and footsteps now long gone. The forest that hums today hides the memory of a time when life moved in thunderous herds and radiant flocks. But time, greed, and change silence them. The skies that once burned with color are pale, the woods that once rang with calls are still. This is Arkansas, where beauty was once measured by sound, and silence became its inheritance. These are the lost creatures of Arkansas, the voices of the South that time refused to remember. Long before sawmills and steamboats, Arkansas was a living paradise of forests, rivers, and endless wetlands. The Mississippi and Arkansas rivers carved green arteries through the land, feeding floodplains so rich they shimmered with life. Buffalo grazed in the valleys, elk roamed the Ozark highlands, and wolves tracked quietly through the pines. Flocks of birds darkened the sky for hours while parakeets flashed like jewels among cypress branches. The air was heavy with the hum of insects, the cry of herons, and the drumming of great woodpeckers echoing through the big woods. Life here was abundant, not gentle, but balanced. Every sound had purpose, every creature held a place in the circle. But as the frontier pushed westward, forests fell to axes, wetlands turned to farms, and the songs that once filled the Arkansas dawn began to fade, one by one, into silence. One, the passenger pigeon. There was a time when the skies over Arkansas would turn dark for hours, not from storm clouds, but from wings. The passenger pigeon once numbered in the billions, the most abundant bird on Earth. Flocks moved like rivers through the air, so dense that their passing could break branches and drown out speech. They nested in Arkansas's hardwood forests by the thousands, carpeting the ground with life. For native tribes, they were a seasonal miracle. For settlers, an endless resource. But abundance became their doom. Millions were trapped, shot, and shipped by rail to feed expanding cities. Within a few short decades, a bird that had seemed eternal was gone. In 1914, the last passenger pigeon, named Martha, died alone in a zoo, and the Arkansas skies that once thundered with their wings have never again known that kind of living storm. 2. The red wolf. When the sun fell over the forests of Arkansas, a haunting sound once rose through the night, the long, trembling howl of the red wolf. Smaller than a grey wolf but more cunning, it was the silent guardian of the South's wilderness. It kept deer herds balanced, scavenged what others left behind, and moved through the pine woods with a grace that made it nearly invisible. But fear has always been the enemy of understanding. As settlers spread across Arkansas, wolves were branded as monsters, bounties were placed, traps were set, and poison was scattered. By the 1970s, the red wolf had vanished from the wilds of Arkansas, a victim not of nature, but of misunderstanding. Yet in captivity, a few survived, and from those few, hope was reborn. Today, red wolves once again howl in parts of the South, their song faint but defiant, as if reminding Arkansas that the wild is not so easily silenced. Number 3. The Ivory-Billed Woodpecker. Deep in the swampy heart of the big woods of Arkansas, a sound once echoed like a hammer striking hollow wood. The double knock of the ivory-billed woodpecker. Towering nearly 2 feet tall, with wings flashing black, white, and crimson, it was called the Lord God bird, because that's what people whispered when they saw it. For centuries, it thrived in old-growth forests, feeding on beetle larvae from dying trees, nature's cleanup crew in feathered form. But when logging swept through the South, the ivory-bill's kingdom fell. By the 1940s, most believed it was gone forever. Then, in 2004, whispers spread again, a possible sighting in Arkansas's Cache River swamp. For a moment, hope returned, but no proof ever came. Whether myth or miracle, the ivory-billed remains a ghost, a symbol of how quickly wonder can vanish and how stubbornly we still chase it. Number 4. The eastern elk and American bison. Before Arkansas was farmland and frontier, its valleys shook with the rumble of hooves. The eastern elk and American bison once roamed here in vast herds, grazing across the Ozarks and river plains. Their trails carved paths that would later become roads, and their migrations shaped the forests themselves. To the first peoples of Arkansas, they were sacred, providers of food, clothing, and tools. But to settlers, they became a resource to be exhausted. Bison were slaughtered by the thousands, elk were hunted without restraint. By the 1840s, both were gone from Arkansas, their bones traded for profit, their echoes left in the dust. Today, elk again walk the Buffalo River Valley, reintroduced from distant herds, living descendants of strangers. Yet the blood of Arkansas's own elk and bison is gone, replaced by memory and wind. Number 5. The Grey Wolf and Heath Hen. Along the ridgelines of the Ozarks, the grey wolf once hunted in packs that kept balance in the wild. Their howls rolled across the hills like wind through pine needles, a call both eerie and eternal. But as towns spread and livestock filled the pastures, the wolf became the villain of every fireside story. Trapped, poisoned, and hunted for bounties, the last grey wolf in Arkansas fell in the early 1900s. Without its presence, the balance of predator and prey unraveled, leaving forests quieter, emptier. And on the grasslands that once covered southern Arkansas, another voice vanished. The Heath Hen, a prairie grouse whose booming courtship calls once echoed through tall grasses. Hunted relentlessly, their numbers collapsed until the final bird, a lone male, danced in vain on Martha's Vineyard in 1932. His calls went unanswered, a tragic song marking the end of an entire lineage. 2 lives, 2 worlds, both silenced by the same human hand. Number 6. The Ozark Cavefish. Beneath the green hills of northern Arkansas lies a world of complete darkness. Silent rivers winding through stone, where no sunlight has ever reached. In these hidden waters lives a creature almost invisible, the Ozark Cavefish. Barely 2 inches long, pale and sightless, it survives by touch and instinct, sensing ripples in the black. For thousands of years it endured undisturbed beneath the earth, living proof that life finds a way even in eternal night. But now, even this hidden world is threatened. Pollution seeps through limestone, groundwater drops, and the delicate balance of the underground is unraveling. The Ozark Cavefish still clings to survival, one of the last witnesses to a time before the world above was changed. In its quiet persistence, it carries the heartbeat of Arkansas's ancient earth. Though so much has been lost, Arkansas has never stopped listening to the echoes of its wild heart. In the misty valleys of the Buffalo River, elk once again roam, their silhouettes glowing golden in the morning light. Along protected forests and wetlands, new generations of conservationists work to restore balance, planting trees, cleansing waters, and guarding the few species that remain. The red wolf, long gone from this land, has begun to find its voice again in nearby regions, and whispers of reintroduction stir hope in those who remember its call. The Ivory-Billed Woodpecker, whether real or legend, still inspires explorers to search the swamps of the Delta, driven by faith that wonder might yet survive. Each effort, no matter how small, carries a promise that the mistakes of the past can shape a wiser tomorrow. In Arkansas, recovery begins not with sound, but with listening. As twilight falls across the Arkansas wetlands, the forest exhales. Cypress trees rise from the still water like sentinels guarding memory. Fireflies flicker in the darkness, their glow soft as the fading heartbeat of a forgotten world. Here, where rivers once roared and skies once thundered with wings, silence has learned to sing. The ghosts of this land are not gone. They linger in the rustle of leaves, in the cry of herons, in the rippling surface of every stream. The parakeet's colors, the wolf's howl, the elk's thunder, all still echo faintly in the soil they shaped. Their absence is a story written across the landscape, reminding us that every creature lost leaves the world a little smaller, a little quieter. This was Lost Creatures of Arkansas. Next, Lost Creatures of California. The wild does not vanish all at once. It fades softly into memory. Whether it stays there or rises again depends on how well we remember and how deeply we care.